MMA is not known as a generational sport. Unlike football or other sports, parents aren't often keen to get their children into the octagon after them. But MMA legend Frank Mir's daughter, Bella Mir, is an up-and-coming fighter looking to follow in her father's footsteps. So just how good is she really? And could her father retire on the same night she has her biggest fight yet? Stay tuned for all that, plus more MMA news coming right up. First up, Frank Mir's new promotion. It seems like everyone has an opinion on how much fighters should be making, and Frank Mir has thrown his 2 cents in now too. The UFC has faced a mountain of criticism for not giving its fighters enough compared to other sports like boxing, with YouTuber-turned-boxer Jake Paul leading the chorus. And while UFC President Dana White can dismiss those kinds of voices, when a legend like Frank Mir talks, it's hard for him not to listen. Unlike other MMA fighters though, Frank has gone a step further by establishing his own promotion. He teamed up with other MMA legends Tito Ortiz and Quinton Rampage Jackson to form the United Fight League. Mir has opened up about how his promotion will stand out from the rest. While he is still trying to work everything out, he has promised that fighters under contract with the company will have no exclusivity, unlike in the UFC or Bellator. That would mean that if one of his fighters has an attractive offer in the world of boxing, they would be able to leave and come back without any problems. Lock-in contracts are one thing that the UFC has been under fire for recently. #FreeNate was even trending at one point, asking the UFC to release Nate Diaz and let him fight Jake Paul. That's why it would be a big selling point for Frank's promotion. He has compared the way fighters are treated at the UFC to servitude and said that the way the company denies them opportunities is not right. The United Fight League is still getting things off the ground, so it's impossible to see how it will turn out, but for now, it's an exciting new prospect for young fighters. Next, Mir announces his retirement. Frank Mir has earned his place in the history of MMA. In just his 3rd professional MMA fight, he was already fighting in the UFC, and after winning over Peter Williams, Tank Abbott, and Wes Sims, Frank Mir challenged for the heavyweight championship at UFC 48. It took him less than a minute to beat Tim Sylvia and claim the belt, but a motorcycle accident soon after put his career on pause. Mir returned a couple of years later to fight his way to the championship match again, beating Brock Lesnar on the way in the most famous rivalry of his career. There's no doubt that this was the high point of Mir's career, but he has still been fighting consistently. But after losing to Mark Hunt in 2016, he moved to Bellator. At the age of 43 though, Frank is ready to give it up. He revealed on a podcast that he already has a retirement party in mind. It doesn't have to be with Bellator, but Mir knows who he wants at the top of the card, and that's his daughter, who is making her way up the MMA ladder just like he did. Frank thinks that it's a special opportunity for any company. He said, "How many times is a father and daughter fighting on the same card going to happen in history?" But before calling it a day, there is one fight that almost every MMA fan would love to see. Now, a trilogy 14 years in the making. One of the most exciting heavyweight matchups to ever grace the UFC was Frank Mir against Brock Lesnar. While Mir ended the first fight with a technically brilliant armbar, Lesnar battered Mir's face in what may have been the most cathartic night of Lesnar's life. Now, 13 years after that night, Mir has fired some more shots at his old rival. Lesnar joined the UFC in 2008 and was immediately put up against Frank Mir. All eyes were on Lesnar, as many doubted whether a former WWE star really had what it took to win in the octagon. Long before Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, this crossover fight was pulling in millions of fans with curiosity. While a lot of MMA fans were happy with the first match, Lesnar went on to make sure that he wasn't a one-hit wonder. He won and defended the heavyweight championship with wins over Randy Couture, Frank Mir, and Shane Carwin before losing to Cain Velasquez, then Alistair Overeem, and calling it quits. I mean, can you blame him? Have you seen those guys in action? Lesnar briefly returned to the UFC in 2016 to defeat Mark Hunt, but was later disqualified for testing positive for a banned substance. Frank Mir has claimed that a trilogy was never set up because of how Lesnar felt. Mir said, "From what I was told, because of the way I responded after the second fight, he truly felt that I was a little off." Apparently, Mir made Lesnar feel uneasy. Next up, which UFC legends are booking a rematch next year? And just how good is Bella Mir, and how is she defying her father already? So don't go anywhere. Next, oldies making a comeback. If you were feeling a bit of nostalgia hearing names like Brock Lesnar and Frank Mir, then we might have some good news for you. Tito Ortiz has claimed that he is organizing a rematch with rival Chael Sonnen for 2023. On the Adam Carolla show, Ortiz revealed that he intends to fight one last time and that Sonnen is in his crosshairs. The two first fought in 2017 at Bellator 170, where Ortiz tapped Sonnen out in the first round. It was one of his last 3 wins in his MMA career, but it seems he's not done just yet. After facing former UFC champion Anderson Silva in a boxing match last year, it seems that he's just not ready to give up the fight game. And as far as promoters go, there's no better hype man to sell a fighter than Chael Sonnen. Sonnen is arguably the best trash talker in the sport and has more recently been lending his talents to build up fights for people like Jake Paul. But if Tito is telling the truth and Sonnen has agreed to a rematch, then there are are plenty of fans more than keen to see him back in the octagon. Tito Ortiz is 47 and Chael Sonnen is 45, so we won't be expecting the highest quality of fighting, but it would be a nice throwback for fight fans. Can Sonnen stay out of trouble? Speaking of Chael Sonnen, it looks like he's been doing some fighting outside of the ring too. After an alleged assault in Las Vegas last December, it's now official that Sonnen is facing 2 charges in court. Sonnen is accused of attacking multiple patrons at the Four Seasons Hotel, with one couple looking for $15,000 in damages for the incident. One of them said that they did not deserve what happened to them. While the specifics of the incident are not clear, the couple claimed that Sonnen seemed to be uttering gibberish when he launched an unprovoked attack on the two. After that, they claimed that he got celebrity treatment from the police as he was released from custody pretty soon after. Footage from the night shows an almost shirtless Sonnen being escorted by police officers through the hotel. The Clark County District Attorney's Office hit back at the claims of the couple and said that they had remedied the situation, but the couple were far from satisfied, which is why they are suing Sonnen in civil court, telling the media that Sonnen aims to beat people into submission using his MMA skills outside of the cage. The last person you want to pick a fight with is a former UFC fighter, but if the couple are to be believed, then it was Sonnen who attacked them first. Just imagine having a former light heavyweight contender coming after you in the middle of a hotel corridor. We'll stick to watching from the comfort of the TV, thanks. Next up, back to Bella Mir. Frank isn't the only Mir in the fight business anymore. His daughter Bella has already racked up 3 professional wins and is on her way to stardom, and she has said that she plans to become an even bigger icon than her father. Just like her father, Bella has already shown how devastating she can be with her ground game. 2 of her 3 wins have come via submission, with one ending with a vicious armbar, just like Frank used to do. According to Frank, there is no question that Bella is destined to be a champion, regardless of which promotion she heads to, but it wasn't exactly the career path that he had in mind for his daughter. Talking to UFC, Bella revealed that her father didn't approve of her getting into the fight business. She said that he encouraged her to play other sports, but that it was difficult to resist fighting when she had been around it her whole life. Finally, when she wouldn't give up on her desire to fight, Frank gave up and started supporting her. And since she was 14, they have taken her training seriously. And with some good connections to the UFC, Bella has already caught the eye of President White. She said that Dana is proud of her and is like another dad to her. Having a dad as a future employer can't be a bad thing. Would you watch Frank Mir's final fight? And do you think that his daughter has what it takes to be a champion? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in the next one.